Missy Koski and Lori Hasenfluke didn't know if they'd ever make this trip.
We had a big task in front of us.
Facing the headstone of an unidentified woman and finally knowing who she is.
What's good, guys? Welcome back to Crimetober. Tonight's case takes us back to Halloween in 1979, when a young woman is found on the side of the highway, naked, strangled, and wearing only one pair of orange socks. This case will become a mystery. So on October 31st, 1979, there had been a report of a body on the Interstate 70 near Georgetown, Texas. When law enforcement come to the scene, they locate a female who was strangled, naked, and wearing only one pair of socks. In a bizarreness, they're wondering who put her there, who is this? Because this person did not have any identification. There was no missing person reports within the area. And sadly, this person would be buried and become known as the Orange Socks Jane Doe. It would take over 40 years to determine who this Jane Doe is. Through DNA testing and genealogy, in 2019, they finally got the answers of who this person is. Because as you can see, this case had haunted Colorado for a long time due to the nature of her being found strangled, naked, with one sock. Orange, might I add, and it's crazy that I'm wearing orange. Didn't even think about that. And so for them to finally figure it out and know that this is 23-year-old Debra Louise Jackson. Debra was 23 and it had stated she was coming from Albine, Texas. She was a hitchhiker and she was moving.
They are two of the 50 volunteers across the country who, over the years, worked the Orange Socks cold case.
It took a while for all the, to get good DNA that was usable that we could submit for analysis.
And the break in the case that helped them?
Really, it was the picture in this instance.
A picture from Natalie Murray. We talked to her last month.
I love skulls. I think they're fascinating.
She's the forensic artist who came up with this recent sketch for the Orange Socks woman.
I have hopes that this is really going to get somewhere.
All reports were reviewed by investigators.
And it did, as Williamson County investigators identified her today as Debra Jackson.
Her family just thought that she was fine, so there was not a missing persons report ever done for her, which is why back in 1979, no one knew the identity because there was no missing person report. And you have to understand how DNA and the systems that they used back then were completely different than now. But the good thing about it is her family had finally figured out where she was and what happened to her. But the answers they would not get is who did this to her on that fateful night of Halloween. Over the years, investigators had many theories that would come through, right? So one theory was maybe a truck driver driving throughout, the cities and states had murdered Debra. Then the infamous Henry Lee Lucas had confessed to the murder of Debra in 1984, but it had turned out that he was actually lying. This man was not even in the Debra was murdered. So while Lucas was tied to the case, he had not been confirmed as the killer for Debra's case. For him, his sentencing was commuted because he lied. He lied about all of the different murders that he had confessed to, and come to find out, he actually murdered his mother. And so his sentence was commuted from the death penalty. What we do know is on Halloween 1979, Debra Louise Jackson was murdered. Her life was taken, it was stolen, and she had a lot to live for. It had been stated that she was doing real estate. She was working at a hotel at the time before she had disappeared and began her hitchhiking journey. And as I began to do the research on this case, right, it reminded me of another case that I seen on 48 Hours where there was something about another orange sock with two women where the cases connected. But I was asking, looking to see if there was any connection, but it said that there wasn't. But I just thought it was really strange that they found this connection with an orange sock, but it wasn't the murder, the person that did those two crimes, which was Alan, I think his name was Alan Lee. But it just made me think well, these cases happen in Colorado. Very similar, but I don't know. Nearly 45 years later, no one has been convicted of her murder. And for me, what was the purpose of the orange sock? Like, why did we leave the orange sock behind? I'm a little confused on that. So what do you think might have happened to Debra? Do you think it was a truck driver that might have been coming through the state, or perhaps someone she knew? But that's today's story, guys. Let me know what you think about Debra Louise Jackson and who could have did it. Me personally, I know they say that there's not a connection to this other case that happened in Colorado, but it's a little... That's today's episode, guys. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you tomorrow.